Shabbat Shalom umevorach. Welcome, Bruchim Abayim, ladies and gentlemen. This week we'll be reading Parashat Emor. And we know in this week's parasha, it speaks about the mitzvah of Sfirat HaOmer. And the Torah tells us that the second night of Pesach till Shavuot, we count every single day. What are we counting for? We're counting for Shavuot, which was when we received Matan Torah. And every day, to signify this counting, they used to give a korban, the korban of Omer. And we know once the Jews received the Torah, it says in the Pasuk, it says in the Torah, Vayachanu Sham Yisrael Neged Ahar. And everyone knows that when it says Vayachanu, it's singular. Even though we're talking about thousands of Jews, but why does it speak in a singular tone? It was because the Jews were so combined, they were so united with so much achdut, that the Torah says Vayachanu, it was like every single person was really one body. And that's what was the level they were on when they received the Torah. Why is that so significant? Why is the Torah telling us how important it was that everyone was united? It was like one body. We also know in this period of time of the Omer, the students of Rabbi Akiva, 24,000 students passed away. And that's why we have different minagim when it comes to Sfirat HaOmer with music and weddings and haircuts, because it's also a period that we're mourning of something happened much later on with the students of Rabbi Akiva. But what connection to one another? It says in Pirkei Avot that to acquire the Torah, there's 48 ways to acquire the Torah. So the famous question is, how can one person have 48 different ways to acquire the Torah at once? You could do 1, 2, 5 of them, but at one time, every time you learn, how are you going to do all 48 different ways to acquire and really achieve the learning of Torah? So the Vinah go on explains that when Am Yisrael is together and be'achdut, it's not one person, because most of Am Yisrael is learning. Most of the Jews are learning throughout the day. So together, you're going to be able to acquire 48 ways of learning Torah. Yes, one person, it's impossible to do that. But as a coalition, as of Am Yisrael, as a big nation together, we will acquire all 48 ways of learning Torah, and that's how we achieve this. So let's go back to what we were saying in the beginning in the parasha. After Mitzrayim, after the Midbar, after 40 years in the Midbar of traveling, the Jews finally got the Torah. And they were such on a high level, they were so much united, and they had so much achdut and love for one another. The Torah says, Vayachanu Sham Yisrael Neged Ahar. They were one. It was like one person. And that's why they were able to receive the Torah then, and they were on such a high level. But unfortunately, in the story of Rabbi Akiva, much later on with the 24,000 students, why did so many Talmidei Chachamim, these weren't kids, these were people who sat and learned all day. Why did they pass away? Why did they leave this world? Because they weren't be'achdut. They weren't respecting each other. They were speaking Lashon Hara about each other. They weren't respecting each person's pshat in the Torah or in the Gemara or whatever they were learning. They didn't have that respect. And because they were all broken up, and they were not together, that's why they had to pass away. And they couldn't really acquire the Torah the right way. And this is what it's saying, that when we have unity, when we're be'achdut, we have the 48 ways of acquiring the Torah, and we can learn the Torah and accept the Torah correctly. And that's what happened in Matan Torah. But Rabbi Akiva, it wasn't like that, so they didn't have the schut of acquiring and learning the Torah. Today, there's so much Torah, Baruch Hashem. All over, anywhere you go, whether it's a sefer, whether it's your phone, whether it's a shiur. But if we really want to acquire the Torah, now we're in Sfirat HaOmer. Now we're coming and counting the days to Shavuot. If we really want to appreciate and get the schut of Torah Kdosha, we have to be together. We have to be united. And if you look in the history of the Jews, whenever we were separated, whenever we were not united, we failed. And we were punished, and we were hurt, and there was problems in the world. But once we unite through Torah, unite through Tefillah, then we see the Geula very soon. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we have to realize, especially in these times, how do we treat one another? How do we treat our spouses? How do we treat our children? How do we even treat our friends? It could be your best friend. Do we speak to him respectfully? Do we say Lashon Hara about people? And if we be united, part of being united is being caring and being nice. If we stay united, b'shalom and all one, we'll see the Geula very soon. Shabbat Shalom umevorach.